Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Trent. This is Rams Talk. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in, subscribing. For all the legacy subscribers out there, thanks so much for watching and all of your comments. Really appreciate it. For everyone who just subscribed, thanks for jumping on. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. We're at the tail end of the year, but the playoffs are coming up and there's going to be a lot of good off-season content. So welcome. You can also find me on Twitter at Real LA Rams Talk. The Twitter Rams community is pretty cool, so just jump on in and check out all those dudes. It's good stuff. So this is it. This is the last regular season game of 2018. Can't believe the season's gone by so fast. But the Rams are playing their arch nemesis, the San Francisco 49ers. Now, the 49ers aren't that good this year. And needless to say, I don't take this game for granted at all. It's a division rival. It's their main rival. And I could see the 49ers wanting to screw up whatever the Rams have their first round bye that they're playing for, the first division sweep the Rams have had since 2002. Not having Aaron Donald get the sacks record. So I think the 49ers, although they're depleted with injuries, a much inferior team, I see a lot of fight in them. I watched the highlights of the last couple of games of theirs, and they beat the Seahawks 2 games ago. They had the ball twice in the last couple minutes. And a touchdown would have won the game against the Bears. So they're fighting. And since Nick Mullens has come on board, they've won 3 games. So under Nick Mullens. So I'll talk about Nick Mullens a little bit more down the road. But in terms of all-time record, the 49ers have that at 69, 66, and 3. So the Rams need 4 more wins to own the all-time record against the 49ers. So this Sunday's game against the 49ers, a win there would get them a little bit closer to that. And honestly, I'll tell you this, almost nothing in sports means more to me than the Rams having all-time bragging rights over the 49ers, beating the 49ers on any occasion, just taking it to the 49ers. So a win this weekend would not only lock up a much-needed first-round bye for the Rams, like I said before, it would also give them a sweep of the NFC West. They would be the 5th team to do so since the realignment, since the Texans came into the league. Only the 5th team to have a division sweep. 3 of the last 4 that have done it went on to win the Super Bowl. So that's a good omen. So hopefully they can do that. And I've said this before on my last 49ers videos that I really hate the 49ers. I know that like long-time Rams fans, they totally get this. Fans who have come on board in the last couple of years since the Rams moved back to LA, they kind of get it because of the San Fran-LA rivalry, but they really don't have the scars, I guess you could say, to show and to really understand like how big this is and how big it is to like when the Rams were terrible, which was like most of my life. I didn't care if they only won 2 games a year. If I knew they're going to be bad, I just wanted those wins to be against the 49ers. The 49ers beat the Rams 17 consecutive times in the 90s, and so that leaves a mark that now I'm discussing here for you. So anyways, let me just get into everything here. So I guess we can start off talking about the 49ers a little bit because it's kind of a weird team. They've like everyone on their team's dropping like flies. Like they won't have Matt Breida for this game, the running back, and they won't have Dante Pettis for this game. Might not have Marcus Goodwin for this game. So, I mean, that's like their offense is, I mean, they're on their 3rd string quarterback and Nick Mullens. They were on their 3rd string running back with Breida, now their 4th string Jeff Jeff Wilson. And, you know, they had Pierre Garçon and Pettis coming into the season, and those two are out, and Goodwin is out. So it's like, it really is on offense. It's going to be George Kittle. And George Kittle, he had a pretty good game the last time they met, but he is the only guy they really have now to throw the ball to. I don't see Trent Taylor or Kendrick Bourne striking any fear into the Rams secondary. And the Rams have a good secondary, so this is going to be the John Johnson show, but I feel like the Rams really need to rally everyone around in stopping George Kittle. So George Kittle has had 62 more targets, 42 more receptions, and 761 more receiving yards than the next receiver or player on the 49ers in terms of receiving. 62 targets more than the next guy, 42 catches more than the next guy, 761 yards more than the next guy. So even when Pettis was there and Goodwin was there, the offense was flowing through Kittle in the air. And, you saw in the first game the Rams played against the 49ers, it was the Kittle show. And so, I mean, really, that's where all the resources should go on defense, is stopping Kittle, because they don't have the running attack. They have, like I said, Jeff Wilson, and he's averaging 4.1 yards per carry in the limited time he's had the ball this year. So he's really not a threat. Now, Nick Mullens is... Oh, and John Johnson's going to get that assignment most likely on George Kittle. And George Kittle, he always lines up in line. Most of his yards, almost all of his yards really, come when he's lined up in line instead of in the slot or out wide or in the backfield. So he needs to get tracked right off the line. So maybe, I don't know if that's probably not Littleton, but most likely John Johnson, who, is one of our better secondary players. So I think that's going to be the big assignment. Now, Nick Mullens. Now, he had that great coming out party, but you don't really think of him. And he is most likely a backup QB, but he's really acquitted himself well. In fact, he has the third most passing yards through the first 7 career starts in NFL history, behind Cam Newton and Patrick Mahomes. Weird. That's so weird. Nick Mullens, through his first 7 career starts, has the third most passing yards of anyone ever. And that's at like 1,995 yards. So he's 5 yards away from 2,000 there. He has 10 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, so he's positive in that regard. So just to put that in perspective, like Josh Rosen, who we just played, blue chip prospect, has 10 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. Granted, he's on a worse team, like a much worse team, but Nick Mullens has looked nice. He doesn't get hammered. He's had a couple rough spots, but he had a game where he passed for over 400 yards, a couple 300-yard plus games, beat the Seahawks, beat the Broncos, beat the Raiders. So 3 of the 4 49ers wins this year have come from behind Nick Mullens. And, when you beat the Seahawks, granted it was in San Fran, and they scored more points against the Bears than the Rams did. Granted, it was in San Francisco, so they didn't have the elements. But the team's playing, they're feisty, and the Rams can't take it for granted. However, I really feel like, now we can move to the Rams' offensive side of the ball. I feel like it's all about the turnovers. It really is. The 49ers are minus 21 in turnover differential. The Rams are plus 7. Minus 21. It's the worst in football. In fact, if they don't get an interception in this game, they will set an NFL record for fewest interceptions by a team in one season with 2. They have 2 interceptions this year. 2. The closest team is Arizona Cardinals with 6 interceptions, so they're not even close. So if they don't get the 3rd interception, then they will have the fewest ever. That just goes to show you really how poor they are at creating turnovers. And also, one of my main keys to this game is attacking their secondary, especially on the left side. So here's a couple key matchups to watch. So on defense for the 49ers, they really have 2 to 3 guys you got to account for. Number 1 is DeForest Buckner, defensive tackle, 12 sacks on the season, 60-plus tackles. I mean, he's a force. You watch highlights of any game this year, and he is everywhere. He's legit. He's a Pro Bowl dude. Our guy is better, Aaron Donald. So DeForest Buckner, last game when they played, Roger Saffold had a really good game against him and only held him to 3 tackles and no sacks. That's a key. If they can do that same, if the Rams can replicate what they did against DeForest Buckner in this game coming up, then there's nothing stopping the Rams. The other player on defense is Richard Sherman, and he always plays on defense the left side. So for the Rams offense, the right side, and that's where Josh Reynolds is going to be. So I almost feel like, cool, take Josh Reynolds out of the game. Whatever. Brandin Cooks, Robert Woods on the left side, and in the slot, they're going against Tarvarius Moore, and then someone in the slot, I can't remember, and their safeties aren't great. So I feel Brandin Cooks had a touchdown reception when they met in the first game. So I feel that this is going to be a really big game for Brandin Cooks. He's going to be coming out in this game. Robert Woods. Hey, Bennett, take it easy. Watch your show. Okay. I'm in the middle of Rams talk, buddy. Thank you. So on the left side for the Rams, Brandin Cooks and Robert Woods out of the slot, that's going to be really where they can make this happen. Now, another thing for Rams on offense is last week they did a lot of jet sweeps. And I'm just going back to like preseason. Preseason, Gerald Everett was injured. He was coming off of surgery. And so essentially they were just using Higbee and the 3 receivers going 11 personnel. Now Everett's full strength. Cooper Kupp is down. Last week, Gurley was out, and so you had a lot more 12 personnel. And in fact, one of C.J. Anderson's 4-yard touchdown run, Everett came across and had a nice block. So you're seeing Everett and Higbee getting a lot more reps together. You even saw a jet sweep with Everett coming around. Now, Everett's probably their best receiver-ish tight end guy with yards after carry, breaking tackles, and running with the ball. And so running jet sweeps with your tight end is crazy. No one does that. Travis Kelce doesn't do that. Obviously, Gronk doesn't do that. So Gerald Everett, I feel, is also going to have a big game. And I think he's going to be a guy to watch going into the playoffs, how they use Gerald Everett. But using him and Higbee together blocking for C.J. Anderson, I think the Rams are going to be running a lot more 12 personnel in this game. Todd Gurley still kind of game time decision. I really don't think they need to press him into action. And C.J. Anderson, we all know what he did. So I say the Rams just keep power, just smashing it forward and getting big yards on the ground, running it or throwing it to Woods and Cook. I think in terms of, if you want to look at like how the 49ers stack up defensively, they're kind of middle of the road. They actually allow fewer yards per game than the Rams do, which is kind of interesting. They allow about the same amount of passing yards, both teams, but they give up fewer yards rushing than the Rams do. I don't know what that means going into this game, but I really don't care if Todd Gurley doesn't play. I feel like they can still win this game handily with C.J. Anderson, just powering it through. The offensive line will power through. The rest of the defensive line for the 49ers is nothing. Eric Armstead is all right. Cassius Marsh is whatever. And Fred Warner, their linebacker, he's actually pretty good. He's kind of a gem. So him and Richard Sherman and DeForest Buckner are the 3 guys they really have to account for. But I think Goff should have his way, but I think they should also just power it and have maximum protection so Goff doesn't get injured and doesn't fumble. I feel like when pressure gets to Goff, then he's fumbling it, he's turning it over. Now, last but not least, Aaron Donald. It's no secret he's coming in this game, playing the whole game, going for the sack record. He needs 3.5 sacks to break Michael Strahan's record. He has 19.5. I feel like the entire defense for the Rams are going to say, hey, don't worry about stopping the run. Because, Aaron Donald still does that. Just go all out. Aaron Donald had pretty much the best game of his career last time they played the 49ers with 4 sacks, 6 tackles for a loss, 9 tackles overall. I can't remember how many QB hits. He had a bunch in there, but he's going against Laken Tomlinson most likely on the offensive line, and he's not great. Joe Staley really is like the main dude. He's their left tackle. But I mean, their center, Richburg, is their weakest link, kind of like Sullivan is ours. So if he lines up anywhere between those guys, I think he can realistically get this. And their fullback, who actually is, I think, 3rd or 4th on their team in terms of yards, receiving yards, they might put him in there, the chip, because I feel like Kyle Shanahan does not want Aaron Donald to get the sack record against the 49ers. The Rams are treating this like a playoff game. I don't blame them. They definitely should. They should really go like foot on the gas until it's out of hand, kind of like the Cardinals. So I think, yeah, I mean, that's really it. I hate the 49ers. I hope the Rams smoke them. I hope the 49ers. Well, I mean, I'm okay. I'm not going to get too into it, but the Rams are going to kick their ass. I don't take them for granted, though. Don't take them lightly. Don't care if Gurley plays. Got to stop George Kittle. Got to pound the ball, throw to Cooks and Woods, and then just enjoy that extra time off. Because if they don't play Gurley in this game, he will have had 4 weeks of rest on that knee. Oh, one last thing. Sean McVay even said that Gurley had an injury kind of like this earlier in the season. When they beat the Raiders, he tweaked his knee there, and this injury is similar to that, but he still played the following week against the Cardinals, only had 42 yards on 19 carries. So yeah, there's that little nugget. Who knows? But yeah, really, the Rams should win this game. They're better in every facet. It is a rival game. It's at home. So Rams fans, show up, represent, and yeah, I'll be looking forward to wrapping this game up and discussing it. Hopefully we have some Aaron Donald sack leading all-time leader news to report come Sunday afternoon. But as always, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Stick around, watch some extra videos. I really appreciate everything. Everyone in the community, everyone in Rams Talk. You guys are all awesome. And 49er fans, if you're here, I don't have anything against you personally. I just hate your team. Okay? So deal with it and save your "Wolf, we had Jimmy G" stuff. No. That's it. Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. Go Rams.